What's up, everybody? It's Coach Jonny with SixPackAbs.com. Today I'm with our special guest.
What's going on, guys? It's Coach Christian.
This is Coach Christian. He's another one of our platinum coaches. And for you longtime subscribers to the channel, if you're familiar with me, you may or may not have seen Coach Christian before, but he's actually one of our newest coaches we have here on board. What we're going to do today for you guys and girls out there is actually going to talk a little bit about the squat. We're actually about to get our leg workout in. We do train together. We're buddies. And we wanted to make sure you guys knew the basics and the fundamentals on how to perform a proper squat. In just about each of our workouts, we have some variation of a squat. It's not necessarily maybe a barbell squat. It could be a dumbbell or a kettlebell. It could be a single leg squat. It could be some variation thereof. But it all funnels back into being able to do a good barbell squat. So that's why we wanted to talk about this today. There are 5 cues that I like to have my clients really focus on when doing a squat. 5 different things. It sounds like a lot, but when it comes to a squat, it's not that much. But there's 5 cues that as when you're working out that you really want to focus on, and it's proper mechanics. Don't focus on what's out here, the weight on the bar. That should be the last. That's like number 15 on the list of those 5 things. So if you focus on these 5 cues, you will give yourself a better squat. You'll create more power. You'll build more muscle. For guys out there, you can boost your testosterone. Overall, it's going to benefit you, and it's also going to pay dividends on your other exercises. This type of having a very good squat will translate to a lot of different exercises. So, Coach Christian, would you mind demonstrating for me today, sir? Okay. So, like I said, we've got 5 cues of a good squat. So we have the bar unloaded now. I always recommend when you go to squat, it's better to unload it. Get a feel for the range of motion. You might be tight that day, you might be feeling loose, you just don't know. If you put 200 pounds on the bar and just start squatting, you're not really gonna know. So we're gonna get the bar on, and the first cue we're gonna talk about is the bar position, where Christian has this bar on his back. So the first thing I'll say is Christian doesn't have the bar resting directly on his neck here. Never really in any scenario should the bar be resting on neck or resting on your bone. You actually wanna create a shelf with your shoulder blades using your traps to place the bar on. And Christian has done that here. He has his scapula retracted, his shoulder blades pinched together behind him. It's created a nice shelf for the bar to sit on that's made of muscle, so it's not painful. Now, the next question comes, well, how high up or down should the bar be? And some of you may be familiar with this term as high bar squatting and low bar squatting. We're gonna get into another video, the difference between the two later down the road, but for today, for a general squat, we're just gonna call it medium bar, and he's gonna find a position on his traps that is comfortable for him, okay? So that's what we're gonna focus on. So it looks like he's right about, I'd say mid-trap. He's not too far down. The bar isn't touching his rear delts, but the bar is not touching any of his neck muscles or his skating. So that's the first cue. Second cue we're gonna have is foot position, okay? So this is crucial for a lot of people. Well, how far, how close? Everybody's bodies are different, especially your hip joints and the angle of which your femurs for a squat position are going to be angled out. So a lot of people say, well, your feet should be shoulder width. Well, that might not be true for everybody doing a squat. It might be better for them to do a general squat a little outside shoulder width, or maybe even a little side shoulder width. Again, for today's video purposes, we're just going to do a general squat. So he wants to be wherever's comfortable for him, and that's going to be around shoulder width or maybe just outside. So are you feeling comfortable there?
Feeling comfortable here.
Okay, he's feeling pretty good. Now, so that's the second cue. The third cue I want you to focus on is actually your feet, the bottoms of your feet, your points of contact. A lot of people kind of just forget about that when they get in the squat, and we see them squatting down and they're pressing up with their toes, or they're way back here on their heels. You don't want that. You generally want to have a nice level flat foot on the ground, and I want you to focus on 3 contact points. It makes a triangle. You've got your heel, you've got your big toe, and then you got your little toes. You want at all times your big toe, your little toes, and your heels touching and contacting that ground, almost like you're gripping the ground, kind of like if you're a monkey or something. So do you feel your toes, your big toe, your little toe, and your heel as a good contact point on the ground?
Everything's engaged. I feel like my feet are cemented into the ground.
Okay, perfect. Coach Christian cemented. All right, we're good to go here. All right, so now we're going to talk about our fourth cue that we want to focus on, and that is core bracing, because this is very, very important as well. You create more strength and power in your squat when you brace your core. And what that means is controlling your breathing and actually using your abdomen and core strength to give you more pressure in your body to help you lift and push more loads. It's called IAP, inter-abdominal pressure. And when you can breathe in and brace your gut, brace your core here, not in your chest. We're not breathing up here. We're gonna press our abdomen actually against, like press it out against your inner abdominal wall is pressed against your outer abdominal wall, and it creates more strength and more tension. So can you demonstrate some bracing with a nice deep breath in, Christian? All right, so right now, nice and tight. Okay, he's ready to go. All right, so we got the tight core, so that's our fourth cue. So now let's review before we get to the fifth. We had the first cue is the bar position. We had the second cue as his foot position, how wide his feet are. Third cue are his points of contact, his feet on the floor. And his fourth cue is the core bracing. Now, the last, the final cue. Are you guys ready? And what I want to talk about in this one is kind of a generalized cue, as I like to call it. But that's, let's call it keeping the tension. You want to control this weight. You will see a lot of people in the gym when they're squatting, maybe just dropping it like it's hot, going real fast all over the place. We don't want that. When you build muscle, muscle is built through the stretch and contraction of a muscle. So when you slow down that stretch, or what's actually called the eccentric portion of an exercise, you're going to recruit more muscle fibers, therefore increasing your gains. So you really don't want a fast squat. So if you can squat 225 5 times pretty fast, but you can't do it 5 times slow, you need to change that, okay? So that fifth and final cue for Christian is going to be focusing in his head and making sure that he's resisting the bar on the way down and on the way up. All right, now we're going to have Coach Christian demonstrate 5 solid squats for us. Great job. All right, as you can see, first he's got that controlled descent. He's not dropping down in the hole as fast as he can. He's not popping out. He's resisting the negative. He's got his toes planted, his heels planted. He's shifting his hips back. He's got a nice shelf for the bar here. He's got his chest up. Good controlled breathing before every single rep. That's a pretty darn good squat. Now, since I am a coach, I do have a couple tips for Christian. The only thing that he really needs to do is, we don't want to look up when we're squatting too much. We don't want always in a neck flexion. We want a nice neutral neck. That could just strain something in the neck, maybe pinch a nerve, which we don't want. The only other thing he needs to work on is just his hips. They're just a little bit tight. As you can see, he could get down to just about parallel. But from my view, I could see that his hips were winking a little bit in the back. And we talked about this earlier. So if you do have that butt wink, because when you squat down, your butt curls under you like that. You really don't want that. You always want your hips sticking out. But if it does that, that's just mobility you got to work on. So for now, you only want to squat about as low as to just before your butt starts to wink. Start working on those hips, your quads, your hamstrings, your ankle mobility, your calf flexion as well. Eventually that butt won't go away. You'll be able to sit and do a deeper squat. Coach Christian, do you have any input for today as well?
Another good tip that I've learned over time is reverse lunges. This is for people who've been doing, leg workouts for a while already. That'll get your quads loosened up, hips loosened up, things like that. So
that's another really good dynamic warm-up that you can do, is some actual reverse lunges. That'll get your hips and quads loosened up, as well as your posterior chain, your hamstrings and glutes. So good tip. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. We're about to go smash a leg workout. If you're new to squatting, generally you want to start off with between 3 to 5 sets of, I'd say, between about 8 and 12 reps. Again, don't worry about the weight on the end of the bar. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you execute and making sure that your actual quads and glutes are firing and doing the actual exercise. From Coach Jonny,
Coach Christian,
SixPackAbs.com. Make sure and like this video if you enjoyed what you saw here today. Comment, share. We'd love to hear your guys' questions. Give us some more ideas for some more video and content you guys would like to see. From SixPackAbs.com. Have an awesome day.